today's talk will be about what is a CTF and how to play a CTF, and basically how to learn while playing a CTF and how to be good at it. So we'll just start. WTF CTF. So CTF is when you learn hacking for fun and profit. So you can learn whatever techniques that are used in hacking for fun, as in while you play CTFs you usually learn new techniques that might be fun for you, or when you win a CTF it might you might get some profit out of it, maybe share cash prizes, goodies, or some sort of profit in, let's say, fame. So that's that. So CTF is a special kind of information security competitions where participants learn about information security by solving challenges which are usually very innovative, and the techniques that they use to solve these challenges, they might somehow be related to security. So these CTFs are usually a good way of learning these techniques. So these challenges or the games that are usually designed in a CTFs, the authors try to keep the theme central to the security as much as possible. Other than that, they might be fun to solve. They might be sometimes nerve wracking, or they might take a lot of time for you to solve. So that also gives you the kind of problems that you face professionally while uh, in an infosec career. So now CTF stands for capture the flag. So flag is something. So flag could just be some text. It might or might not be meaningful. It could just be some hex characters. For example, this is a flag from last year's competition, Nullcon HackIM CTF. So here you can see it's usually like the name of the CTF. So they usually have a format that almost every CTF follows. So this could be the name of the CTF and then in some text in brackets, which might somehow relate to the challenge or might not make meaning at all. So this is what a flag is. So once you get the flag from a challenge, you submit it to the CTF website to get points. So and these points define where your rank on the scoreboard is. So there are multiple types of CTFs that are played worldwide. So most popular is Jeopardy. So in Jeopardy style CTF, there are multiple different challenges in different categories ranging across various difficulty levels. So these categories could be web exploitation, cryptography, reverse engineering, binary exploitation, forensics, steganography, and whatnot. So apart from these categories, there could be AIML involved. There could be miscellaneous challenges which somehow need some sort of AIML solutions and whatnot. So these challenges, they usually have different difficulty and hence different value of points. So you get challenges by submitting these flags. So once you, let's for example, in a challenge of web exploitation, the CTF might have hosted a different website that you're allowed to attack. So once you attack that website, you compromise it somehow on based on what or how the authors designed it. Now, once you have compromised it, you somehow locate the flag. Where is it located? Maybe on the disk. If you can read files from the disk from the vulnerability that you exploited, or maybe it was present in the database if you exploited an SQL injection vulnerability. So based on where the flag is, you get that flag, you submit it to the main CTF website, and then you would eventually get the points for that challenge. So as I said earlier, the more points that you have at the end of the CTF, you will be higher. So usually if there's a tie between teams, it is usually broken by who submitted the flag first. And at the end of the CTF, whatever the prize scheme was, prizes will be given according to the scoreboard, final scoreboard. So the next is attack defense CTF. So in attack defense CTFs, every team might have a VM or a network that they are allowed to administer. And while administering that VM, it might have some certain buggy programs running on it. You have to attack the other Steam network or VM and simultaneously patch your own services so that you are not getting attacked. So this is like a double-edged sword, you can say. You can also attack and defend. Both of these activities give you points. So points are usually given by how many flags you compromise on other team's machine and what is the uptime of your service. So as long as you patch your services well and you write good exploits, you will be ranked higher on the scoreboard. Now there could be another category of CTFs wherein it could be a mixed CTF, so it might involve some Jeopardy style challenges in some categories and some other attack defense challenges as well. Now in case of sometimes when CTFs are run on site as in conferences, they might also involve interactive challenges. So I've seen challenges in other CTFs wherein they say locate this player on the arena and defeat him in a game of chess. Now, this could be classified as a like miscellaneous challenge, and that could be a mixed style CTF. So next thing is how to CTF, like how to capture the flag. So first thing first is you should head over to ctftime.org. So CTF Time is a website that hosts or curates a list of all CTF. When suppose I am a CTF host, I want to host my CTF. I usually publish that CTF on CTF Time. So this is like a standard in the CTF community, or everybody knows about CTF Time. You should join CTF Time, register a team here, and here you would have like global scoreboard of all the teams that are playing in these CTFs. There will be a calendar that hosts the upcoming CTFs that will be there, and it also hosts the CTFs that have happened in the past. So as you can see, this site dates back to quite back a bit. So it goes up to 2011. So for example, here you can see some upcoming events. So here you can also see the event that Nullcon will be conducting HackIM 2020 here. Now, once you have joined CTF Time, registered a team, you can browse to one of these, let's say this CTF. So here you can see what the date and time for this CTF is and where this CTF will be held. So similarly, we can also browse to Nullcon's HackIM 2020, which will be running from 7 Feb at night around 10:30 IST to 9th Feb Sunday morning 10:30 IST. So here you can just visit that website. Every CTF has a weight. So based on the quality of the CTF that has happened in its history. So for example, this is the 11th edition of Nullcon's HackIM. Based on the last editions of HackIM, every CTF event has a weight. So this decides on how good the CTF will be. So higher rated CTFs, good teams usually play higher rated CTFs because they will have good quality challenges. Their network time will be up. All the admins or the portal where they are helping players, they would be supportive and things like that. So whatever makes the CTF successful. So the better the CTF, the higher rated the points are. Difficulty is also quite a factor there. So other than this, once you have done that, you choose what CTFs you are playing. So mostly all CTFs happen on weekends, which you can see here. And most of these run for around 48 hours, 36 hours, 24 hours. Some run over a week. You can also see if someone is online or if some CTF is near to you in location, you can go play there personally. That too is an option. So once you have done that, you can import these events into your Google Calendar and maybe later plan your weekend according to these CTFs. At the time of the CTF, join the CTF. So join here, register yourself here, play the CTF, whatever challenges are available, try solving as much as you can based on the categories that we discussed earlier. So once you have done that, then so let's say if you are not able to solve some challenge, you can come back to CTF Time. In the past events, you would be able to see some CTF that happened in the past, and you can look at its scoreboard and events, task and write-ups. That means the challenges that were published for this CTF and the write-ups that the players submitted after the CTF was over. So you can go to one of those challenges that you were not able to solve at that moment, and then you can learn on how to solve this challenge, what methodology to use, what other teams use as tools, or some techniques that were not known to you earlier. So this is how I learned playing CTFs. So in the start, I did not know anything, and we started by playing a very hard CTF, of which we were not able to solve, I think, 2 challenges. So, but we spent quite a bit of time on it. There was some challenge on which we spent 10 hours, but we were not able to solve. Later, when the write-ups were released, we came back to this website, looked at the write-up, saw where we failed or how things should have gone out if we had done this or that. So based on that, I learned a lot of techniques while I was solving CTFs in college, which usually help me almost daily in my day-to-day life here as a security researcher looking for vulnerabilities in popular softwares. So that is why I prefer playing CTFs because they keep you sharp. You know the current tools and techniques, the latest. So usually, if the challenge author is good, they take a very recent, they relate a challenge to a very recent vulnerability or some recent paper that was published online. So you can stay up to date with all the current events that are going or the type of vulnerabilities that are currently uh, released. So that is there too. So once you have done that, you play a CTF, you miss some challenges, you read their write-ups, or even if you solved a challenge, you use some technique, but there was another better technique that helped other teams solve the challenge faster. You could learn those techniques and maybe use them in later challenges. So that's how you get better at these challenge at playing CTFs. So CTF Time is a great website that you should always be browsing to, just looking for what CTFs to play on weekend, and please make sure that you import their calendar in your Google Calendar. So this is how it looks like. As we have already seen, you can look at the format that is available. You can go to their website and register at the time of CTF. So this is a random image that I found on the internet, but it is quite good. Some of these tools are outdated, but I'll tell you about them, uh, what tools are currently applicable. So in the categories for Jeopardy CTF, Jeopardy style CTFs that we discussed earlier, one of the prominent one is reversing and binary exploitation. So in reversing, what you usually get a compiled program or some sort of software, and it has a feature like once you give it a string, it can verify if it is the correct flag or not. So this is just an example. So your job is now to reverse the logic of that binary program, kernel, whatever, to figure out on how it is doing that. Once you have that knowledge, you can obtain the actual flag from that binary. So if, let's say, if I give it some string, it says this is not the flag, but when I give it the correct flag, it says yes, this is the flag. So that's how we reverse that logic. We get to the logic, we find out the actual flag, we submit it on the website and get the points for that. Now in binary exploitation, they usually run some binary on the network on their own server, which has access to the flag. So what you have to do is you have to find out a memory corruption vulnerability or a logic bug or something that eventually helps you to exploit that binary and read the flag from the disk on that binary. So doing these usually require you to look at a binary, that is something output from a compiler. So to do that, you need some sort of tools and most of these challenges usually revolve around Linux because it is free and like available everywhere. So most prominent tool is GDB. So GDB is a debugger that helps you debug a program, introspect the state of a program and change it. So this way you will be able to see how your exploit is working, if your layout is correct or not, and something like that. Other than this, you also need something called a disassembler, a decompiler. So IDA Pro is somewhat that. So IDA Pro is so free versions of IDA Pro exist, but the Pro version is what is the industry standard in reversing malware and exploitation side. Other than this, on Windows, you have Immunity Debugger, Oli Debugger. So one of the great tools, great open source tools that's available online right now is Radare 2. It is also kind of a terminal solution to disassembling and decompilation and debugging. Other than this, there's also the open source tool Gidra that was made available by NSA last year, open source. So other than that, these are the couple of tools that are used to debug different languages in case of IELTS, .NET. So these are the tools there. Then other thing is other popular category is crypto. So in crypto, it usually involves that the challenge author would have written a script or a program that will have some sort of crypto mechanism that will have a bug. Now using that bug, we will be able to get some secret out of that script or server or the machine. So it will usually involve cryptography rather than like crashing or overflowing something. So that is there. So most of the tools that involve crypto, I don't think these will be very applicable apart from Sage that we use. It's a mathematical suite of tools in Python that you can use to formulate your own crypto systems or use the ones supplied by the author themselves. Other than this, we have sometimes we have, for not every time, but in some CTFs we have forensics and steganography challenges, which are usually dependent on the type of tool that you use. So you should have some knowledge on what type of tools, let's say the file command that you have available in Linux to determine if what sort of file this is and all that. So similarly, there are multiple different tools that you can use to solve forensics and stacano challenges. Now, apart from these tools, one of the most common tool that I use, which is not mentioned here, is uh, Python. So, depending on what your preference is, you would want a language that helps you script or run or connect to some services, interact with it. So, in case of exploitation, cryptography, both of these require you to connect to remote server and then communicate with it or debug binaries. So for Python, I use a package called Pond Tools, which is usually great, and it solves a lot of problems involving network debugging and all that. So I don't think it's mentioned here. So these are some do's that you should always do. So first thing is learn. So whenever you see a new challenge, don't just skip it because you don't know it. Try to look around into what the challenge is doing, or what the binary or the website or the script that you have, what sort of logic it is implementing. Is it available online? Is this some sort of paper implementation or something like that? So try to learn as much as possible. Even if you're not able to solve the challenge, you can later go back to write-ups and see what you learned actually applied or not, or if you missed something. Then second is try new technologies. So if you are able to solve a challenge, let's say with some software X or some tool X, but there was some technique Y that was better than that X, so you can try that new technology. So in this case, I can say that we used to use IDA Pro quite a lot, but since it's not free, we have somewhat tried other disassemblers, let's say Ghidra and all, which help you do almost same things as IDA Pro. So next thing is talk with other teams and players. So while the CTF is running, if you have some time to kill or you are not able to solve some problem but you still have time, you want to learn, you can talk with other teams and players. So you can have some mindset of what a challenge should involve. So you should be active on their IRC, Slack, Telegram, Discord, whatever they are maintaining, and look for hints what the admins are providing or some sort of help that you need. You should always be active there. That's how you know people and connect with more people in the CTF community. Now don'ts. Now what you should not do at all. First thing is use automated tools. So automated tools suck. They usually take the challenge down if you put a lot. So it might be possible that if you put a lot of pressure on the challenge or load on the challenge, it might crash. It might spoil the game for others. So don't do that. Don't attack the infrastructure. Now if you find a bug and that was unintended, and you can compromise the whole server, you can get root or whatnot. So don't do that. Report it to the admins. They might give you some points for it, or they might give you something, some creds or whatnot. Next thing is don't be salty on the CTF channel. Some people might be saying what like this team is not good, or this channel is not good, it is down, it is down, this is not a great CTF. So don't be salty. Just try to accept that managing a CTF is hard, and playing in a team is hard. You should always support other players and teams while they are learning. Everybody is here to learn. So last thing that, and most important, is don't share flags or spoilers with other teams. So if you solve a challenge, or if you know some part of solution of a challenge, don't publish it online before the CTF ends. So don't put it on your blog, don't publish it in the Telegram, Slack, whatever, or don't in general tell to other people unless the CTF is over. This will spoil the fun for everyone. Now if I was trying to learn some technique for to solve this challenge, and you put it on the channel that okay, you can do this, but that will kind of spoil the fun for me, the fun of looking into the internet and finding of what the solution should look like. So these are some don'ts that you should not do. Next thing is, once the CTF is over, you have almost all week to practice for the next CTF for the next weekend. So you can go to a couple of these websites. So first one is RootMe. So RootMe has a great set of challenges in all different categories. You can go there and look at these challenges. So these are also CTF centric. They are very similar to what you find in a normal CTF. They have all categories of challenges. I think, yeah, so they have quite a bit of challenges, and they have solutions published for them too. So you can, so they also have an active IRC, so you can join their IRC. If you're not able to solve a challenge, you can get help from there, read the tutorials, and get back to solving again. Another website that is managed by IIT Roorkee CTF team is Backdoor. So Backdoor is also a website where you can practice all sorts of challenges. They also have, so they also conduct CTFs multiple times a year. But other than that, they also curate their challenges from CTF so that you can solve it after the CTF. So there's a bigger, more comprehensive list at vchild.net, where you can go to the right side and you can have a list of all the challenges, websites that host these kind of challenges. So like RootMe and SES Labs Backdoor, they have all sorts of challenges. There are some websites that are very specific to one kind of challenge. One of the examples, or the most popular examples, are pawnable.kr and pawnable.pw, which hold binary exploitation challenges. So if you are into that, you can choose a website that fits your needs, or if you choose some specific field that you want to follow, you can choose the website for that and try to solve challenges on it. So this is how you get better at practice. Play the CTF, read the write-ups. If you have free time in the week, practice on these websites, read the write-ups again, and try to learn new techniques and tools as much as you can. Now that's yeah, and eventually you will somehow be better at CTF with practice. So coming back to what this event was for. So this is we have announced Nullcon's HackIM CTF on CTF time. So this is the HackIM 2020. This is the 11th edition that will be happening. So this event usually precedes Nullcon, which is a security conference that happens in India in around first week of March in Goa. So this will be the 11th edition of this CTF. So I have been conducting it since past two editions, and we have been trying to get better at it while like conducting the CTF, getting more players to participate, more interesting challenges and whatnot. So this is the site where you can go and register right now, and the CTF will run from 7th February 10:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time to 9th February 10:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time. It will be a Jeopardy style challenge. It will be Jeopardy style CTF. It will have reversing, exploitation, crypto, web, and miscellaneous challenges. Miscellaneous might have forensics and technography in there. So considering prizes, so we have cash and goodies to top three, which will be awarded in the Nullcon conference in Goa. And for the top 40 people, we have free passes for, I think, one or two people from the team. So regarding what sort of challenges you can expect to see, you can browse to last year challenges here. I have made this public. This PPT is public, so you can go to this link and follow the PPT. You can go to this GitHub repository. It contains sources for all the challenges that we used last year. So for example, here you can go to one of the exploitation challenge and look at it, what the bug was and what the author wanted you to. You can also find out what was the potential solution that the author expected. And apart from this, you can also go to the last year's CTF time listing of Nullcon from here, and you can look at the event tasks and write-ups. So this way you will be able to figure out what sort of challenges did we have last year. We have kind of some similar challenges too from last year, which might have some additional difficulty involved. So that is there, and that's it. Like that's it for today. Now I can wait for some questions from your side.